Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the NewGen Peacebuilders Virtual United Metro Birmingham 2021 celebration. Celebration of NewGen Peacebuilders in Metro Birmingham who are completing, along with their Peace Project mentors, a wonderful experience around learning about peace, learning about conflict resolution, but then putting it into action. The music was peppy. The balloons are uplifting. You can see I've added them to my office for the purpose of our time together today, because that is the spirit of this event, that peace building is hard work and it takes courage and it takes commitment and it takes resilience, but it's also something to be joyous about. And it is something to be joyous about when we have young peace builders who are completing a journey. This is the first NewGen Peacebuilders celebration that's ever been held in Metro Birmingham, because it's the first time NewGen Peacebuilders has been conducted in Metro Birmingham. But we hope this will be the first of many more experiences, because I can say in my role, I am Patricia Schaefer, the Executive Director of NewGen Peacebuilders. In my role, my experience since the first thought arose that we might bring NewGen Peacebuilders to Metro Birmingham at the invitation of local civic leaders. Since that arose through the journey through today, what we've experienced is nothing but energy and creativity and generosity and a collegial spirit about peace building where you are. I happen to be in Charlotte, so greetings to you from Charlotte today. And I am so looking forward to the next 2 hours. So how will the next 2 hours take place? I have the pleasure and honor of showing you kind of some background looks at a little background story on what happened on the NewGen Peacebuilders journey with the students who are becoming certified today. And we'll do that up to about 1:30. And then you'll get the chance to hear from the NewGen Peacebuilders themselves. This morning, they were preparing a final sort of reflection before they present to you the results of their peace projects this afternoon in various presentations in several tracks. And we'll explain to you as we go along here how that will work. Before we get underway, I do want to say thank you to everybody who has chosen to carve out time on this Saturday afternoon to be with these NewGen Peacebuilders. It is a great gift whenever someone listens to your story. It's a great gift when they listen to your story about peace building. And so by being part of this experience, you are part of the NewGen Peacebuilders cohort and family. And by the way, I know there are many family members who are joining us, and it wouldn't have been without your support and the support of educators who freed up time and creative energy for these young students to be in this program, and sponsors of the program that we would be here at all. And so really, this is an experience of celebrating them, but an experience of being together. There's this idea that if you end up in an event together, it's no accident. It's kind of like an invisible red thread connects you all, whether you know it or not. And so today we would say that invisible red thread is something that draws us all to want to be in the space of making our communities more peaceful and more resilient. Before we get underway, I am reminded of one expression that I have loved for a long time. In my role in NewGen Peacebuilders and another nonprofit I'm involved with, I have lots of opportunities to spend time in several countries in East Africa. And there's a maxim, an expression from there that's now made its way around the world, that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I propose that today, over the next 2 hours, we're going to be together, but we're going to go both fast and far. You're going to see how far these young peace projects of these young NewGen Peacebuilders have come. And you will see how far these projects might be taken in the future, not just by them, but by others who might be inspired by them. But we're also going to go fast, because you're going to see how much ground they covered. And I'm going to tell you that story in a relatively short amount of time. And then you'll be part of these high energy presentations that they'll be giving. And then at the end, we'll come back together for just about 10 or 15 minutes for some closing thoughts and the opportunity to imagine the future together. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the NewGen Peacebuilders Virtual United celebration. Here we go. Here we go. So the first thing I want to say to the student participants who are completing your program, we can't be together so that you could actually receive your physical Peace Builder certificates today, but you will be getting them this coming week. And we are delighted. They're already filled out. They already recognize the journey you've been on. And so you'll be getting certificates just like these NewGen Peacebuilders did in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, what's exciting about those certificates is they recognize a lot. They recognize that you have gone on a learning journey and been exposed to ideas and frameworks and tools that in some cases wouldn't be available for most people unless they're studying peace and conflict resolution at university, or they end up in a career that involves that in some way. So you have been exposed to those frameworks and tools and learned to work with them and learn the lexicon of peace building. You have also done something very important in peace building. You have put it to work. You have put it into action. You have crafted peace projects. And that's actually quite unique and quite special, because it can be easy to study peace, learn what it is supposed to be about, but to actually get on the playing field and try and put it into practice to make our communities stronger and better. It takes a special kind of energy and resilience and commitment. So the certificates recognize that. But what these certificates also do is say something to universities and people looking for good interns and people looking for good people to employ in their organizations, that you're a special kind of leader. And we know that this certificate communicates that, because we've had so many NewGen Peacebuilders who have found themselves being very competitive for awards and recognition and scholarships and intern opportunities and job opportunities. Three that come to mind immediately for me, and there are many, are Sarah Hawley, who wrote about her NewGen Peacebuilders experience related to hunger. And that was part of the way she became a recipient of a Moorhead Kane Scholarship at the University of North Carolina. That's a full ride scholarship. I think of Max Beers. He's at William and Mary now on a partial scholarship. And Max has gone on to do things like lead community dialogues around housing and jobs and education, and even go to Washington, D.C. as part of Advocacy Day to advocate for young peace builders and the support of young peace builders. And I also think of Lauren Bush, who is a junior now at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And she was a standout NewGen Peacebuilder. She has actually done internship work with the Centers for Disease Control related to the intersection of healthcare equity and peace. So there are bright things ahead of you because you're incredible young leaders yourselves, but I think there are also bright opportunities ahead because you can say you are a certified NewGen Peacebuilder. So for everybody who's with us, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to say that to these young participants in front of you, and you have a chance to recognize how special they are too. I also want to say you now become officially part of a growing network of young peace builders, young NewGen Peacebuilders. So the NewGen Peacebuilders program and experience really got its start in early 2014. And you can see from this map all of the places that there have now been NewGen Peacebuilders trainings and peace projects done, both in the United States as well as South America, the Middle East, and Western Balkans in Europe. So that's exciting. You get to be part of a network that's growing, a growing network of young people who really want to make a difference in the world as peace builders. And so we treasure, we value everything that you have done in Metro Birmingham. We value the connections you'll make and the places you will be part of a growing network around the world. And I want to appreciate that we've had so much enthusiasm and thumbs up and endorsements of what you are doing from Metro Birmingham. So many voices in the past week and long before, and I'm sure after today, are going to keep expressing their enthusiasm for this training and experience that you've had as NewGen Peacebuilders. I just wanted to mention two in particular, because these two women featured here on the screen have both been enthusiastic when we've reached out to them about NewGen Peacebuilders, and they were enthusiastic when they said they were registering for today's program. So one is Reverend Gwendolyn Webb, and she of course has many things in her history and background to be proud of and accomplishments that she has achieved. But what's very special to us about her presence here today is that She's connected to the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, and she walked in, when she was 14 years old, she walked in the 1963 Children's Crusade. And the origin of this program coming to Metro Birmingham, one of the essential elements and intentions of it was to become connected with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And so we are so thrilled at the enthusiastic reception that you've given us and your enthusiasm for the NewGen Peacebuilders. Thank you so much. Another is Denise Gilmore, who's the Senior Director in the Division of Social Justice and Racial Equity in the Mayor's Office in Birmingham. She too has been just an enthusiastic voice and source of inspiration as this program has gotten underway. And we appreciate also, Denise, your ideas about what NewGen Peacebuilders can do in Metro Birmingham as it moves forward. So connections with both of you and so many other people who are with us today make this a really exciting event. And when I shared with the students this morning that you had sent your greetings and expressed that you were registering, that was a really exciting moment. So I'm the lucky one who gets to share some of these ideas and this journey of the NewGen Peacebuilders with you because I live in a space every day that is about trying to figure out ways to best bring peace education and peace building skills to young people. I get to do that kind of in 4 ways or 4 channels or 4 lanes or 4 roles. One is I'm the executive director of NewGen Peacebuilders. And that came about because I was chosen in 2012 as a Rotary Peace Fellow. Rotary Peace Fellows are people between about 80 and 130 every year who are chosen by Rotary International to either pursue graduate work in peace building and conflict resolution, or to have an opportunity to use a fellowship to think deeply about the work that they're already doing in peace building. And one of the things that came out of that reflection for me was the creation of NewGen Peacebuilders. In addition, I'm the Senior Fellow for Peace Education at the Alliance for Peace Building in Washington, D.C. And my role there is to go around finding ways to connect and convene with communities that are interested in supporting young peace builders. And I have certainly found that in Metro Birmingham to the nth degree, I would say. And then I'm also an ambassador for the Institute for Economics and Peace, which is a global research and think tank headquartered in Australia that's become quite well known for a framework and tool, amongst others, called the 8 Pillars of Positive Peace. And so one of the experiences that the NewGen Peacebuilders get to have in their learning journey is to learn how to actually apply the 8 Pillars of Positive Peace, which is a lens of looking at what goes on in our communities through aspects of well-functioning government, good relations with neighbors, accepting the rights of others, high levels of human capital, free flow of information, sound business environment, and so on. And so part of what these new Gen Peacebuilders are now equipped with is the ability to look at issues and opportunities in your communities through the 8 Pillars of Peace. So that's why I get the delightful experience of telling you a little bit about their journey. So I also get to tell you that I'm not the only one that believes in young people becoming great peace builders or being at the center of peace building. This is becoming a philosophy that is growing in terms of tone, tenor, support, and how often you might hear this idea of putting young peace builders at the center of peace building. One of the places this idea originated is the United Nations about 6 years ago, when the United Nations started using the language, create a sustainable culture of peace. And a fundamental principle when this idea was introduced was that if we leave young people out of the mix, it is a missed opportunity. We need to be inclusive. Indeed, we need to put them at the center of peace building versus allow them to come alongside or imagine they can be peace builders in the future. In addition, it makes a lot of sense to support young peace builders. There are 3 billion people on this planet who are under the age of 30. There are 1.8 billion who are between the ages of 14 and 24. And so it is the largest, fastest growing demographic on the planet. And so if we want peace on the planet, we need this group of young people, 14 to 24. We need to come alongside them as allies and supporters and partners and invite them to do the same. And youth, young people in the United States have a special role to play because it is a truism that they tend to be trendsetters, they have access to social media, they're aware of global issues and local issues, they're asked to take significant positions in terms of service in our communities. And as they go, or as they do, so are many young people around the world influenced to do the same. So these are very real and valid reasons that we would be coming together today to celebrate this first cohort of young NewGen Peacebuilders in Metro Birmingham. But a rule that we have in NewGen Peacebuilders is we call it the 7 H's. It's a framework that is hello and hope and harm and healing and head and heart and hands. This is a structure that all of the NewGen Peacebuilders have been through on their journey. And hello is about, it's really impossible to start working on anything together until we get to know each other, until we know a little bit about your perspective on peace and you know a little bit about ours. You're going to hear a lot about theirs today, but we wanted to take a moment to invite you in so they can get a perspective from you. So we're going to do that using Mentimeter. For those of you who are familiar with it, this will be easy. For those of you who are not, it'll still be easy because I'm going to guide you through exactly what to do. So everybody who has a phone near them, smartphone, if you would pick it up, and what you want to put in your search mechanism, your search engine is menti.com. So if you would type in menti.com, it's written there at the top of the screen, and it'll take you to a menti.com site, so you can be part of this Mentimeter. We're going to do a little survey here. And when you're there, if you would type in that number you see at the top of the screen, and I see some people are starting to do it, so it's great, 7870-7471, then there's one question that we want everybody to answer from your perspective. What is one word or phrase you associate with peace building? Oh, these are nice, and you can see it changing in real time. Patience, love, empathy, togetherness. Oh, that's a nice one. Community. Ooh, collaboration. Ooh, what's that one over there? Oh, compassion. Yeah, that patience, that green patience keeps, maybe it's because it's green, it's so apparent. Action. Ooh, nice. Ooh, look how big community, then this is really interesting. So look how big community is there, right there in the center. Okay, Oh, togetherness, Beautiful. So beautiful. So what I can see just from looking at this is an incredible sense of heart and compassion and connection, and how big that word community is. I don't think when I've done this before, I've seen the word community show up quite that prominently. But the word that isn't in there is projects. Nobody ever thinks about peace building and projects. We think about unity and harmony and tranquility and connectedness and togetherness. So thank you for sharing those words. We'll be analyzing them behind the scenes and just, again, getting a greater sense of what peace building looks like from your perspective. And what's different about what we'll be doing is our NewGen Peacebuilders are going to show you how they took projects and put this all to work. Now, another thing that you need to know is something that's part of their language, their lexicon now, is a distinction between negative and positive peace. That's really important because by learning this distinction, it reframed or changed many of the thoughts about peace that many of our NewGen Peacebuilders have. So we're going to show you this distinction, which is really important in the annals of peace building, the distinction between negative peace and positive peace.
In peace studies, there's not only different types of violence, there's also different types of peace. We talk about negative peace and positive peace. Negative and positive peace refers to negatively and positively charged ions or whatever that attract each other through magnetic force. During the Civil Rights Movement, Martin Luther King wrote a letter to his fellow clergymen from the Birmingham jail. In it, he basically said that the biggest obstacle to their goals wasn't the segregationists, but actually the moderate whites in America who sympathized with the cause of civil rights but didn't want to rock the boat, who preferred a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, over a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. He said, shallow understanding from people of goodwill was more frustrating than total misunderstanding by people of ill will. Think about that. Our man Galtung also talks extensively about negative and positive peace. It's important to make this distinction because otherwise we may focus only on the fighting and stopping the violence, which is very important. But equally important is addressing the reasons people find themselves in that situation in the first place. The underlying culprits that don't get resolved with negative peace are the structural factors like discrimination or exploitation, harm to certain people based on who they are. It's also the factors that are culturally violent, that make us see the world in a way in which there's a sharp division between me and you, and I am more virtuous than you are, and so some discrimination or even direct violence is justified. What's happening in the relationship between big, complex groups of people? How can we work to move those relationships from harm to something more life-giving? The goal of peace building, therefore, is not simply negative peace, it's positive peace. Like Dr. King said, not simply the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice. Thank you for watching. Positive peace out.
All right, so one of our participants, after we worked on the distinction between negative and positive peace, said, when someone says to me they want peace, I'll wonder, what kind of peace are they talking about? So an important distinction that we couldn't get further into today without sharing with you too. The journey for these NewGen Peacebuilders. Couple of things. We're going to put a 4-minute video in the chat for you that you can look at later, which actually gives you a view of the journey they were on. But I want to give you just the highlights. The journey this group has been on started with them identifying issues that they really care about. This is a consolidated creative view, and we learned you have very creative young peace builders where you are. A consolidated creative image of the issues they wanted to work on from a peace perspective. So you can see infrastructure and issues of housing and homelessness, and quality of streets and buildings is important to them as a peace opportunity. Much discussion and time spent on racism and cultural diversity and the opportunities to overcome boundaries and bridges in communities. Very interesting, not vocally stated, but there was some attention given to political polarization. And for some students, this was a real issue with which they are greatly frustrated in our behaviors as adults around political polarization. Hunger as a peace issue, including issues of the existence of a large size food desert or food deserts, and how that dramatically affects health and quality of life, especially for children. And pollution is a peace issue. And I think it's important to share with you that it used to be that NewGen Peacebuilders would have human rights as their #1 area of concern when it comes to peace. That is still very much at the top of their list, but they easily meld environmental protection into their perspectives on human rights, thinking of a clean and healthy environment as a human rights. And last but not least, the thematic that came through with these NewGen Peacebuilders is a tremendous desire to work on all of these issues, but in a way that is not divisive, in a way that helps, this is their language, not mine, find common ground and forward respect. And so that video that I mentioned, that sort of 4-minute overview of, well, what did they do? What did these workshops look like? What does this training entail? We will put in the chat for you. I think it's being put in the chat right now. But what I'd like to say is, whatever you see in that video, think of it as whatever has been created here by these young peace builders is miraculous. Why? Because a typical NewGen Peacebuilders program would be all live. Will be live workshops, live peace projects, live interactions, moving around rooms, writing on posters, talking to one another at tables. They had to do virtual plus virtual. because there was such a passion for getting NewGen Peacebuilders going, despite the circumstances of COVID-19, that sponsors, educators, local nonprofit partners who helped put this together, and students themselves said, please, we don't want to wait another year. We want to go. And so their journey was virtual plus virtual. They worked on their projects together. They learned the frameworks and tools together. They had dialogues and discussions together. They identified issues together, all virtually. Now, of late, there have been some exceptions recently, more opportunities to connect in a not just virtual environment. But for the most part, they had to do everything, including build relationships and get to know one another and get to know their mentors who guided their peace projects virtually. And so I think you would be inspired by their projects that you'll see this afternoon. Under any circumstances, feel free to feel doubly, triply inspired by what they've accomplished during this very, very, very challenging year for everyone. Miraculous results. And you can't have miraculous results as a young peace builder unless you have allies and supporters. In fact, there's great research that shows that the best peace projects get done intergenerationally. And so we really believe in the NewGen Peacebuilders program in letting the ideas and issues and concerns and voices of the participants take the lead. But programs like NewGen Peacebuilders wouldn't exist without great allies and supporters. So I want to do a special shout out to the allies and supporters who got the peace train rolling in Metro Birmingham in the first place. So on the left, you'll see 4 people who are leaders within Rotary District 6860 and the Rotary Club of Birmingham, which is your downtown center city club. And everybody who's in the Rotary world knows it's a big club. These leaders, this photo was taken in December 2019, were the first to say, yes, bringing NewGen Peacebuilders would be a good idea, and we as Rotarians will get behind this idea. Makes a lot of sense because Rotary is an organization that for over 100 years has had peace advocacy as one of its primary missions and frameworks. But hats off to these leaders within the Rotary District 6860 system for making this opportunity real. And hats off to the Rotaractors on the right. The Rotaractors of Birmingham are a very large group of young professionals who are dedicated to activities of service in their communities, just like Rotarians. So the two are connected. And these Rotaractors in Birmingham have been incredibly engaged and supportive and creative partners throughout this whole process. And so many Rotarians and many Rotaractors ended up also being the Peace Project mentors to guide the projects that the students have created. So we want to give a shout out to them as allies and supporters. In a moment here, I'd like to hand the floor over for just a couple minutes to District Governor Lee Weinman, who is the District Governor for Rotary 6860. But before I do that, I cannot not note that what Rotary District 6860 also did was connect us with some amazing organizations in Metro Birmingham. You have amazing youth organizations. So I want to call out ACE, and the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Alabama, and Youth Serve Inc. All 4 are incredible organizations working with youth in your area, and all 4 have been incredible partners to make NewGen Peacebuilders real. Lee, could we hear from you, please?
You certainly can. First of all, I want to congratulate all of our graduates. The journey that you have made is the first of several that will be made in the state. I want to congratulate Will Ratliff III, who had the vision to bring this together, and also is a driving force behind an international peace conference that we will have in Birmingham in 2023. Will and his team put this together, and they are the ones that said, no, we need to move forward. And so congratulations to Will, your team, NewGen Peacebuilders, the graduates. I want to recognize the Rotary Club of Birmingham, the Rotaract Club of Birmingham, and all the Rotary clubs in Central Alabama that supported our youth and provided scholarships and mentors, and did what Rotary has done for over 100 years. Tricia said that Rotary has been in existence for over 100 years. One of the earliest clubs in Rotary was the Rotary Club of Birmingham. And so Rotary has been in Alabama for over 100 years, contributing to our communities and having an impact on the world. You graduates are the founding graduates of NewGen Peacebuilders in the state of Alabama. You will always be founding graduates, because next year we expect to roll this program out to other schools in North Alabama, and you're the model. So congratulations. When you're a founding member of something, it stays with you for life. Again, congratulations. Rotary has many programs for youth. In the high school areas, we have Interact clubs. As a matter of fact, I started my journey with Rotary over 50 years ago as a founding member of an Interact club. We also have Rotaract clubs that are based in colleges and in the communities. So we have the opportunity to help you on your journey in life, instill in you the idea of peace and of service. And so I'm going to close right now and just say congratulations, and we would love to have you in the Rotary family. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Lee. That's really touching. I hadn't thought about how powerful it is to be the founding member, creator, inspiration of anything. And that's really touching. And I think what you heard from Lee, everyone, is don't be a stranger. This isn't the end of the journey in terms of relationship with Rotary and all these organizations that we just mentioned. It's the beginning of a relationship. So all told, everyone, we did a little calculation in the past 24 hours. And we think with the energy of these students, with the energy of their Peace Project mentors, by the way, there have been educators at their schools who have been along on the journey with us, and they've been tremendous partners. And they are now part of the NewGen Peacebuilders certification process too. We think about 2,500, maybe 3,000 hours have been put towards understanding issues and opportunities in your community, identifying the ones that matter to young people, helping them plan and imagine these peace projects, executing the peace projects. And now in that 2,500 plus hours, we're going to let you go spend time with the students. As you're listening to these peace projects, listen for something they have done to execute good peace projects. They have gone and talked to people. They've interviewed people. Some, you might see some video in some of the presentations. They, instead of trying to fix things from afar, they have gone and asked questions. They have gone and met. And all told, we think they have connected with 20 different nonprofits and social service organizations in Metro Birmingham. And they've listened to people's stories to work on their peace projects. And as one of the Peace Project mentors, Brass Brawley, said, oh, they've reminded us that shared stories unite us all. These are shared stories that unite us all.